they're not in their graves.
Boom! Alright, can y'all hear me now? I think y'all should be able to hear me now. Sorry about that. The people watching on YouTube. Sorry about that, guys. Apparently they weren't able to hear me on YouTube. Let me make sure I have all of this stuff right. Yep, looks like it's right now. And sorry about that, Denise, but thanks for pointing that out. But yeah, as I was saying, Sybil Bennett, the cop character in this film, who's played by the same actress who plays the Crimson Countess and fucking The Boys, little fun fact there, which is fucking weird when I found that out. She is like the most video game fucking character ever, and she has like a weird fucking like unprecedented fucking hard-on for our main character and her daughter. Like immediately she sees like this woman, and this woman like doesn't want to give her like any time of day, and she notices that she has a daughter, and like instantly like latches on to the daughter and the mom character, and like will not fucking leave them alone. Like they haven't broke any laws or done anything wrong, but the fucking cop character will not leave them alone. So much so that the cop character like fucking follows them into Silent Hill, which is another thing that's weird to me. While I was watching this film, the mother character, Rose, like she's getting checked out by the cop or whatever, and like again, Rose has done nothing wrong at this point, has done nothing illegal at this point whatsoever. And I'm gonna move the camera down here because it's really down. And she's done nothing wrong at this point or anything like that, and she's acting so fucking sus, so fucking suspicious. She's acting like if she has a fucking 8-ball smuggled up her fucking ass or something like that. And she fucking hightails it out of the way, and the cop's like, yo, what the fuck? Like, I was just gonna ask you like if you needed any help. And she just fucking takes off into Silent Hill, and fucking ultimately fucking Rex or whatever, and she passes out, which she does that a lot in this fucking film. The Rose character in this film passes out like if she has fucking Sleeping Beauty fucking sleep apnea syndrome or some shit like that. Every fucking 10 to 15 minutes passing out with this fucking girl. And she passes out, and her daughter Sharon is nowhere to be found. And she notices that there's this town full of like fog and ash, and she doesn't know what's really going on. And we're led to believe that she's in this kind of like ghost kind of world, this like paranormal world, you know what I mean, that's different than the real world, because we see in a later scene that her husband Christopher, who's again played by Sean Bean, goes and attempts to try to find Sharon and Rose, and he's going through these different like places, and he's in the exact same location where they're at, but he can't see them because they're like in the spirit world or whatever. And the film does a very, very bad job of explaining that. Hell, the film does a very bad job of fucking explaining anything. Silent Hill does a terrible job at explaining its plot. And if you've never played the games, which I've never played the games, I don't know shit from Shinola about fucking Silent Hill. I don't know a fucking thing about it. And I feel like after watching the movie, I am more confused than I was before watching this fucking movie. I feel like I know less about Silent Hill after watching this movie, and I feel like I don't want to know any more about Silent Hill. Oddly enough, I remember the sequel to this film because it was in fucking 3D, and I remember it being really fucking terrible. That's one thing I will say though. This film, Silent Hill, it has to be one of the better video game to film adaptations. It's you know what I mean? It's up there with like, I mean, I know this sounds fucking weird to say, but it's up there with like Sonic the Hedgehog and stuff like this. It's a pretty decent little video game adaptation. I'll put it up there with like the first Resident Evil film, in where it's like not the best thing ever, but like it's still like not terrible, you know what I mean? It could have been a lot worse. But yeah, going back to the point that I was trying to make before I went on this little tangent here. Silent Hill does a very bad job of explaining what it is and what it's doing. And hey, what's up, Laura? Thanks for watching. But yeah, Silent Hill does a terrible job of explaining what it is and what it's about and all that. But yeah, after Sharon wrecks with her daughter and stuff like that, I mean, after Rose wrecks with her daughter and stuff like that, she comes into contact with that fucking blonde cop. That blonde cop, Sybil Bennett, who has a fucking super hard-on for her, and I don't understand why. Like, if Sybil Bennett would have just minded her fucking nosy-ass fucking business, she would have fucking survived this fucking film. And she wouldn't have been fucking killed in this fucking film. Spoilers, I'm sorry, for a fucking 15-year-old fucking film that you probably already seen by now. But yeah, she meets the cop, and the cop and her kind of go on this like little mismatch adventure for a little bit until they encounter one of these weird creatures that, again, they don't really explain either. They don't explain half of anything that's going on in this film, and when they do explain, well, their version of explaining what's going on in this film, you're left more confused and more kind of like, what? You know what I mean? And then when you finally figure out what is actually going on in this film, you're kind of like, that's really generic and stupid, and y'all kind of just took the fucking long way around to kind of make a fucking ghost fucking story, but whatever. But yeah, the police officer and Sharon go on this little journey to kind of try to find Sharon and stuff like that, and while in the Silent Hill dimension, Rose encounters the girl again, who she learns is Alicia, and we come to find out that Alicia is the dark part of this other character's soul, in which Sharon is the good part of this other character's soul. So two parts of one soul. I don't know if you're still following me here. Like I said, this film is confusing as fuck.
That makes no sense.
But yeah, they go into this Silent Hill dimension or whatever, where the film entirely takes place and stuff like that. And yeah, it's just very confusing. It's very bleak. It's very it kind of feels kind of like a Hellraiser Junior, like Hellraiser adjacent. Like you can tell that the director of this film and the writer of this film were like watching a lot of Hellraiser, and they were kind of like, how do we translate the movie or the video game Silent Hill into a movie? And they were like, well, why don't we just make Hellraiser, but instead of like a box, we make the town the box? How would that just work? And he's like, you know what, that might just fucking work. And that's pretty much what they fucking did. And also, this film has a lot of like overt like religious themes. I didn't realize that Silent Hill was like this, like religious and stuff like that. I didn't realize that like at all. But yeah, this film has a lot of like religious themes. The main plot of the film, the reason that Silent Hill exists in the film, is that the main character, Dark Alyssa or whatever, or regular Alyssa, gets burned at the stake because she gets raped by a janitor, and one of the citizens of the regular Silent Hill town says that, I know how to cleanse her, we're gonna fucking cook her like a fucking barbecue. And that's what causes everything. I kind of think that's so weird that in a lot of horror films, a lot of like possession films, or a lot of like ghost films, they're like, she died or he died so horribly that his spirit couldn't rest, and like his fucking soul manifested into this fucking dark entity, and now it's taken over the whole entire fucking town. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's always like something like that in like these kinds of films. And whatever, right? But yeah, in summary, Silent Hill is it's very long for no reason. Like, this film should have easily been 90 minutes, but it's like a 2-hour and like 4-minute long film, which is like, if you ask me, like 45 minutes too long. Silent Hill needed to be like 90 minutes, or it should have been a fucking TV show. I know I say that about fucking everything, but I feel like these video game like type properties would benefit better from like a fucking TV show, and Silent Hill is one of those. But yeah, Silent Hill is very long-winded. It's very confusing. It's very messy. It's very aimless. It's kind of boring, but I will say it is visually appealing, and like some of the horror aspects of it are really fucking cool. Like there's this one part where these pyramid head guys that are walking around destroying motherfuckers, one of them like picks up this chick and like rips her fucking flesh off, like fucking like skins her like in one swift motion, and that's pretty fucking cool. And the final scene at the end of the film is really cool when the barbed wire is like flying out of this like burn victim that's Alicia or whatever, and that's pretty fucking cool. She goes all fucking Carrie / Hellraiser and kills everybody with fucking barbed wire and shit like that, and that's pretty fucking awesome. Like I really fucking dug that a lot. The ending of this film is pretty cool. The visuals are pretty cool. There's a lot of cool stuff in this. There's a lot of cool stuff in this movie. I mean, there's a lot that could have been done in this film. Hey, and thanks for watching. Hey, well, what's up, dude? Watching on my phone and YouTube. Nice, thanks for watching. Got that dual double action, and that's why I kind of liked going live on Instagram and going live on YouTube at the same time. So that way it gives everybody an opportunity to kind of watch wherever they can watch and stuff like that. But yeah, Silent Hill. I don't want to say that I found it like boring, but it isn't as interesting as it could have been and should have been. Silent Hill was something that could have been this kind of like a really gripping, mysterious, kind of dark, ominous thriller, and instead it's just this kind of generic, run-of-the-mill like ghost story that kind of at its core is again generic and kind of very reminiscent of everything that came out in that year. It's very 2006-y, if that makes sense to any of you all. But yeah, Silent Hill is another one of those like video game adaptations that like it visually looks like it's supposed to look, but it works too much like a video game for it to be taken seriously as a movie. Like the dialogue is super clunky, the way characters interact with each other is super like awkward and wooden, and it doesn't feel like how real people would interact with each other. And again, going back to like the cop character, she's very comic booky and cartoony, as is everybody else in this film. Like even the villains are very like Saturday morning cartoony and stuff like that. And let's go right here to the comments. They're saying, I found it pretty weird because I wasn't getting it until the end. It's an old film, good for the time, but now yeah, it's definitely one of those things that that didn't age very well, and that's what I can tell in the effects. They used a lot of like for the time like Spider-Man 1 CGI, and it looks like a fucking it looks like a Silent Hill video game. It looks like they used scenes from the Silent Hill video game to like save some money, and they were kind of like, hey, you know, this film's gonna look like shit in like 10 years anyway, so why don't we just use like actual cutscenes from the PS2 Silent Hill game and just put that in the fucking movie. So yeah, I get what you're talking about, how it didn't age very well. But yeah, there you have it, ghouls and gals. Silent Hill isn't a bad film, but it fucking suffers from that same video game curse that all these other video game movies suffer from. It is too much like its predecessor. It's too much like the source material, and it's odd to say that for something that should be really faithful to the source material. That's its downfall. It being too much like a video game is what hurt this fucking movie. This movie needed to carve out an identity of its own and kind of have a little bit of fun with the idea of Silent Hill, because I feel like if they just were to keep kind of like the essence of Silent Hill and kind of tweak it a little bit, make it a little bit more mature, make it a little bit more of a mystery, make it a little bit less, you know, kind of generic, I think it would have made for a really good movie. I'm gonna go ahead and give Silent Hill a 2.5 stars out of 5. Like I said, it's long-winded, it's a little bit boring, it's a little bit awkward and wooden, and some of the stuff that happens is like, some of the stuff that happens in the film is a little bit unintentionally funny because of how serious it takes itself, and it just comes off like goofy and cheesy, and I really feel like it could have been executed way better than it was. So there you have it, ghouls and gals. I'm Ryan.T, and thank you for tuning in to another edition of Saturday Night War Theater. And tune in tomorrow where Sid Retro and I will be talking about the anime Bubblegum Crisis. Alright, ghouls and gals. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you later.